So we're here at the community garden, the Vista del Valle Community Garden, and the City of El Paso Parks and Recs Department has graciously helped us with upgrading our beds. We had wooden beds that you can see here is just rotted wood, and these beds were just in really bad shape and they were leaking. So the Parks and Recs Department has graciously helped us to upgrade our beds to these cinder blocks, and these are going to last for years to come for sure. We put 2 high, 8 inches, so it's about probably about 12 to 13 inches high, because these bricks are 8 inches high, and then we buried one about maybe halfway in, so it's probably about 12 to 13 inches from the ground. So as we did that, though, you can see now we have to put a lot more soil into our bed. You could plant it this way, but again, we're going to plant we're going to put some more soil in here, and today I'm going to show you how you can take this soil and really upgrade it and make your raised bed really a great bed. We're going to upgrade it with a lot of organic materials, not only from the bags, but we're also going to use some things that are unconventional, such as your shredded paper. That's what this white stuff is here in our garden, in the soil, and also some cardboard, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. But first, before we prepare the bed, I want to kind of give you an idea. I was at my local big box store. Shout out to Lowe's on Montana. They really helped out a lot with, they had a lot of clearance things that we were able to purchase, and then also they have a sale on this garden soil. Now, again, most of these, like this here, and this steer manure, and these container mix bags, those were $1. So again, you can't go wrong with that. Now, again, I'm gonna tell you, for me personally, I don't really feel like it matters that much when you're in a raised bed, because I'm putting a lot of organic material inside my bed. So it, again, this here, this Miracle Grow, it says for in-ground use. So it doesn't say, there's packages that say for raised beds and all kinds of different stuff. But again, the point more is I just need some fill dirt in there. I wouldn't use just soil, just regular. This is garden soil that's for in-ground, and then I'm mixing that with some other things. So as you can see here, I'm going to use some manure. I also have this in-ground soil and container mix from Miracle Grow, the Performance Organics. And again, what's the difference between the in-ground soil and the container? Well, the container, as you can see here, it's got a little bit more of that perlite in there. Those little white spots there, that's perlite. So that'll break up the soil a little bit, and that'll allow the soil to aerate a little bit better than just having a clay soil. And again, this deodorized manure was on sale, again, $1 on clearance. So I got a really good deal on most of this stuff. Now, let's talk about your cardboard. So what I'm going to show you today is how we're going to make this raised bed into a very organically rich composted material. We're going to use this cardboard, but now if you can see here on your cardboard, there is a lot of plastic, so we're going to remove all of this. So don't get all worried, and if you put a comment in below, but don't put, well, he put plastic into his garden. No, we're going to take all of this off, okay? But so I do encourage you to do that. Go ahead and you're going to just take all of this cardboard and we're going to put it in the bottom of our bed. So since I already have about 8 inches that I need to go, I'm just going to take them out maybe about 2 or 3 inches down in this current soil that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and use that, put the cardboard down. That'll break down over the next couple of weeks or months, and then we'll have more organic material in our bed. So we're in this community garden, and these are existing beds. So we really didn't have a whole lot of issues because most of these beds were planted, and so there's not a lot of weeds or things that were in the beds. And specifically in my bed here, there was no weeds or anything. I've already taken those out. So sometimes you can take your cardboard when you're starting a new bed or putting it in a new area. You can take your cardboard and put that down. That'll help with weed control. The reason I'm putting my cardboard down is more because I want the organic material to break down versus weed control. So what we've done is I'm doing half of the bed to start off with, just for instruction purposes, show you how to do this. And what we're going to do, I've done about 8 inches. As you can see here, it's probably about 8 inches down because the bricks are 8 inches. So I'm going to have about 6 to 8 inches of soil that are going to be on top of this cardboard. And like I said, it's going to go ahead and break down over the next couple of weeks, so it's really not going to be an issue. Once you start planting and you put your plants in there, the roots will kind of go down into that area and also get a little bit of nutrition. So we've taken all of the tape off the cardboard, we've laid it down now, and so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and take my soil that I moved to the side, and I'm going to put that on there first, and then we're going to lay our soil that we have, the garden soil, the steer manure, the compost, all that stuff. We're going to put that inside the garden. So one added extra protection that I'm going to use in this raised bed is, you see how the cinder blocks here are stacked on top of each other. They have the Loctite glue, so they're pretty steady, okay? But the issue is in between these cracks here, there might be some leakage of either the soil or also water, depending on how much rain or anything that we get here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this fabric, this landscape fabric, on the side, and as you can see, I've kind of done about half of that already, and we're just going to put this kind of helps to limit the amount of space between these cinder blocks here, so that we can go ahead and allow all the water to stay in, especially in this dry climate that we're in here in El Paso. Get about 6, maybe if it's a good year, 8 inches of rain. So we're going to try to keep all the moisture in this bed as much as we can. Okay, so now I have the original soil level back to where it's at. It's covering that cardboard, as you can see. I have the landscaping paper along the side to prevent any possible leakage through those cinder blocks in the different seams that they have. And again, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just lay down our soil. I'm going to put a combination of the manure and the garden soil in there to kind of mix it all up together. All right, so I've filled up the bed with the garden soil, the different types of soil that I purchased at the big box store, and I have left about maybe 2 to 3 inches on the top so that I can go ahead and put a mulch on there when I plant my vegetables, so then that way it keeps the soil cool. As you can see, I only did half the bed. I got to do the other half now. So at least you kind of get an idea of how you can fill a bed. I did use quite a bit of soil on here, so you can use whatever you want. Find something that's inexpensive. Now it's time to plant. So what I'm doing first is I'm kind of setting out an area for all of my plants, my tomatoes, my zucchinis, and bell peppers, and all kinds of different things that I have in this particular bed here. And what I'm going to be doing is showing you 2 different methods of planting tomatoes that we're going to experiment with over the course of the year and see how that works. And pretty much let's see how, and we'll see how that works over the course of the next several months. I'm also going to do a trellis system that we have here. I'm going to show you how that's going to also work. So as I mentioned, there's 2 basic, there's really three, but what I'm going to show you today is two different methods of, actually I'm going to show you all three today, actually. That'll be a good experiment. So what we're going to do first, so these are kind of funky. It's been kind of a weird spring, so these are a little over and should have been planted a while, but again, you look at this and it's kind of all wonky and different positions that the stalk has gotten into, but this is actually perfect for the first method that we're going to do. The first method is going to be lying this stalk down, and what the theory is that all along this stalk is going to be root development. So we're going to hopefully see this to flourishing over the next couple of months, and then in the fall we'll pull these up and we'll take a look at those, okay? The second method that I'm going to do is we're going to plant this deep. So again, this is a fairly straight plant here, and what we're going to just do this, we're going to plant this all the way down to here at this level, and this all here is going to be nothing but the root system. And then I'll have another one here that's a little wonky. We'll side plant this one also, and then the other one we're going to plant at depth at the same level instead of planting it deep, but I'll show you all of those, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do here is I'm going to put, so again, we're kind of digging our plant depth as deep as we can, and I personally like to use my hands. I don't like to use garden gloves or any of that kind of stuff. I love using my hands because, again, there's a lot of theories that are out there with what your hands, when you get your hands in the soil, that it produces serotonin, which is a happy hormone. Okay, so now we're just going to lay this on its side, and you see how this is going to grow like this now. Okay, and we're going to keep this just above ground, and I'm just going to bury this whole entire root and the side part, which is the stalk. And then eventually what's going to happen is this is going to grow straight up. So it's kind of down a little bit. We want to be careful with that, but we're going to watch that and see how that goes. So we're just going to backfill this with some soil, and let's see what happens with this first one. So I'm going to be planting these probably about 1.5 feet from each other. Now this one we're going to plant deep. Again, here's the roots that from the last one, so I'm going to just kind of stop right there, and we're going to just go down here, and we're going to dig as deep as I can. And remember, on this particular bed I put some cardboard down here, so that's probably about as far as I'm going to be able to go, although I'm going to pull this cardboard up a little bit, and then that way we can go just a little deeper. Now, one of the things that I normally do when I plant my tomatoes or any of my plants is I'll usually take and put some different fertilizers in here, and I'll also put a lot of the worm castings. I love to put worm castings. That seems to really help a lot. So I've already put that in my hole prior to what we're doing today, so just so you know. So you can see here, same thing. We're going to take this and I'm going to plant this as deep as I possibly can. And then this is going to also be able to have a little bit of side, but this one's going to go deep. Okay, so that way you get a little idea on this one. And I'm putting these all in a line so that the trellis system that I have here, and then we'll go over that in just a second, but we'll put the trellis system up too. All right, so we have those, and then the next one we'll do is the same thing. We're going to actually plant this one at the same, with the wonkiness, we're going to plant this along its side. So I'm going to just plant this, we'll start it here, and then that will give us a little bit of an idea. So we'll just make a little trench. Got down to the depth of the cardboard. All right, and we're going to just put that kind of measure that, and that's going to be, so this one is a better boy. I have beefsteak, I have, so see again what we're doing, instead of planting it this way, I'm going to just lay it on its side and just kind of leave that there. Now, there's various methods or thought processes on what you should do with your leaves on the root system. Should you cut the leaves or should you leave them? Does it really matter? I don't know the real answer to that, but I will tell you that what I like to do generally is I like to pull the lower leaves off, and that allows make sure that we don't have any kind of disease or anything that goes on in the soil. I also usually do that here like maybe a couple hours at the very minimum, but I'll also do this a couple of days. I did these yesterday, and that way it has a chance to kind of scale over, and you know, that way it's not going to have any issues. So we'll see how these go. Next method that I'm going to do is we're going to just plant at depth. Okay, so what we're doing on this one now is, this is a brandywine pink tomato. I'm going to plant this one at depth. Now what that means is the plant is potted, okay? And what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this and we're going to plant the root system, or the dirt, the soil, right to the level of what I have here in my tomato plant that was planted in the pot here, okay? So we're not going to go deep, we're not going to go sideways, we're not going to do anything differently. We're just planting this at depth. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to plant one at depth. I have a couple of these brandywines, so I'm going to plant one at depth, and then the other one I'm going to plant deep. And then we can really kind of compare, because sometimes when you look at the different varieties of these tomatoes, they may or may not grow differently. You just don't know, just because it's the variety of the tomato. So, so the experiment isn't really a great experiment in the sense that if, you know, one method is superior over the other, I think we can make some judgments on that. However, if it's the same variety, that will give us a better idea. So this one we're planting right at the pot level here, and then this next one that we're going to plant over here, we're going to plant that one as deep as that will go here. Okay. Now, real quick before I move on to that, I want to show you and share with you a little bit. This is a basil plant. I have a whole another video. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can check that out, and it's all about companion planting. And one of the best companion plants for tomatoes especially is basil. So I'm going to plant this basil right around here in this area. Maybe I'll get a couple more basil plants. I do have a few more, and we'll just kind of plant those and separate those in this area. Another great companion plant is marigolds. Marigolds are awesome. They can kind of keep away the critters and a lot of the different pests that you might get in the garden. So we'll plant that afterwards, and we're going to plant this here, this tomato. This is again a brandywine pink. I'm going to skip this one. This is a cherry tomato, but we're going to skip that for now. I'm going to just plant this one, and we're going to go as deep as we can on this one. And don't be afraid, you know, to plant as much as deep as you possibly can, okay? So we can see here, we're just going to take this, and it's a nice plant. We're going to just take that, plant it as deep as we can, and then backfill that in with our soil. Don't forget to label your plants. That's very important. All right, very good. So that's it. Now we'll continue and finish the rest of these tomatoes. All right, so we have our plants in. We're going to grow our zucchini vertically. I'll show you a video on that. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can get updates on when I put that video out, but also do have some. I'll put a link of that below. And I have my chili peppers here and my line of tomatoes. We're going to be doing the trellising here shortly. So thanks for joining me today at the Vista del Valle Community Garden. What we're going to show you next time is a little bit about planting and how we're going to plant different types of plants in the garden and how we're going to trellis. I'm going to put a link below, so if you learned something today, put a comment below. And again, I'll put a bunch of different video links to today's things that we talked about, the trellising, planting tomatoes, and there's a little bit more in-depth videos on how to do those things. So I hope you enjoyed the show today, and if you learned something, give that a thumbs up, and if you would like to subscribe, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, happy gardening.